Patreon member shout out. She's a rebel, she's a saint, she's a salt of the earth, and she's dangerous. She's a rebel, vigilante, missing link on the brink of destruction. From Chicago to Toronto, she's the one that they call, oh, what's her name? Hey guys, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with a Veve OMI update video. You guys, if you're new, welcome. If not, welcome back. I love you all. Everyone say hello to Dashy. Hello, Dashy. So everyone comment down below if you like Green Day or Fall Out Boy. So there is a couple of things we have going on. Veve, the official Twitter, has been relatively quiet over the last couple of days. They probably are celebrating the success that they had over the weekend with raising more, I'm pretty sure more than $500,000, almost $1 million for the Ukraine Relief Fund, which is amazing. And then you also have on Sunday that Pixar drop in which we burned over 1 billion OMI that day from the reserve wallet, which again is very good. Actually, for some good news, despite some of the bad news that is always flying around, we have some good news from Jeremy Pador, and I will bring him up again later, but this tweet I think deserves a reading. The man does tweet a lot, but he is one of the people that I do have notifications on every time he tweets, which is really good. So a couple of positive things. Says, 1, Russia and Ukraine talks are more realistic, according to Zelensky, which is, again, him saying that is very good because, Russia really they have to walk away with something, and if Zelensky is saying the one thing that they want to walk away with is something that he can do, that is very, very good. I feel very good about that. Number 2 is oil is under $100 a barrel now, which it at one point was $130, so hopefully that does make things a little cheaper for everyone at the gas pump. And then 3, wholesale inflation is less than expected in February, even with the gas surge. So he was talking about the CPI index, the inflation that the report that comes out month to month, year over year. And the Fed, I think everyone was expecting inflation at about 0.9%, and this came out at 0.8%. So it was very good. It wasn't a ton under what people expected, but there was a lot of people that expected it to be over what Wall Street was expecting. So the fact that it came in under was very good. Very bullish in my opinion. And it says a bonus, he didn't wear a mask all day, even at a grocery store. It says you good. So that's something that is just referencing that hopefully things are returning back to normal. More people spend in the economy. You'll have less people being turned away at doors. Again, I all think that is very good things. And I guess I'll bring him up now again since we're already talking about him. He just tweeted about 46 minutes ago, as of the making of this video, saying Coinbase and Binance need to list OMI. And he gives that O, the red O, and it says retweet, hashtag list OMI, at Binance, at Coinbase, at Veve official. So this is something that will probably be on the thumbnail of this, but I think what he's saying here is I don't think it's any of his frustrations. I do have it on good authority that he has never sold any OMI that he has bought, ever. So that is something that we can go and be like, hey, the big whales, the big guys that are in this, they're not selling. I think that's very good. And the fact that you have him going on, I think that's just him being a little facetious, as in I think he may or may not know something about the future because he is an official part of the team, I believe. I don't know if he's necessarily on the payroll or if he just owns part of the company. It actually wasn't really clear in the last podcast I had with him, with Cavell Anderson and Tabs Trades. If you haven't watched that, please do. He's just to take a look at his soul, at his person. Like, we all know him as a major toy company licensor, always tweets about wrestlers, always very successful, but he is just a genuine, pure soul, and he should be protected. So, moving on from that, I did mention before that Veve had tweeted, I had done that whole relief thing for Ukraine, raising, I think, $500,000 or almost $1 million. Earth 2 is also getting in on this action. Earth 2 had, the CEO, Shane Isaac, had gone out and said that he put in a personal donation of about 5 figures. Could be as low as $10,000, could be as high as $99,000, $999. We don't exactly know which one it is, but I do think they are taking a little bit of profits from there, and they are being able to go and use it from Earth 2 over to that Ukraine relief. Also, shout out to Arya Investments, who was mentioned in his last video. I thought that was super fantastic. That is one thing that is great, that it shows that Veve can afford to do that. It shows that, hey, Veve, because they are not spending on marketing right now, they don't need to do that. They're just, raking it in. Again, we were expected to have maybe a couple 100,000 people at this point, and we have about 2.5 million people at monthly active users at this point. So yeah, the money we definitely do not need to do that. That is more used on expansion because we are saving from marketing, and for the fact that they're able to do this despite having one of their offices that was located in Ukraine kind of, I don't know if it's necessarily under attack, but they were otherwise occupied, making sure they were safe. Unsure if anyone would want to go into work when there's a war going on outside. I think Ukraine is a hot spot for tech companies because Veve and Earth2 alike did both have offices in there. So prayers to both of them. Moving on, there's a couple of other things that I wanted to go over. One of which was the completely negative comments that were on my last video, and it was about the comics and crypto, doing that Fusion Ha with cherry charts and their grading system. I thought that was a pretty good idea. I thought that did give a little bit of, I don't know, like leverage. I think a little bit of insight to how people would view median comics, like comics for, that are 11,958 and 19,607. How do you value those at? Are they any more or less? For me, it didn't really matter. If they're something in the five figures, like I'm talking about mint number anyway. 11,000, 19,000, 28,000. For me, it didn't really matter. That's just something that I wanted to go and highlight that it was a good idea for some. Just we should recognize that in the overall market with 2.5 million people on here, Comics and Crypto does have 10,000 followers on Twitter. They have more than me. They're very good at Twitter. And obviously they know what they're talking about. I mentioned Comics and Crypto and Sleeping Comics in pretty much every AMA I have at night. People come in and ask, hey, what about this comic? And unless it's a comic that I do know intimately, which there's a couple, I always refer to them. I say those are usually better people to ask. But that being said, this is, even though they are doing this grading thing, it's not really affecting my way. Like, oh, I'm going to buy this comic now because of that. And again, with 2.5 million people on here, a small fraction of that are probably listening to him. But I do think it was some of that anger did come from jealousy. People saying like, oh, they're giving the low mints the really high grades. And I think that anger and jealousy came from people that really didn't have low mints. But either way, we have all been wrong in certain things. I had a 2-hour podcast once talking nonstop about Hitmonkey when that was about to come out, because that was one of my favorite characters. Still is one of my favorite characters. I do have several of them, ranging from common, uncommon, rare. I do not have the ultra or secret rare yet. That is something I will get at some point. But again, I made a full video on that, like a 2-hour podcast, and there was a bunch of other people talking about that as well, saying it's going to the moon, it's going to 100,000. Now, it did reach about $17,000 at one point, and is currently, I think, a little under 3,000 right now. For me, I like that because I like the character. I thought that at the time that, hey, this is a cool character that not many people know about, that has a show coming out, and it's a limited release. I thought that was a perfect trifecta, perfect storm to make it go up, which it did for part of the time. Again, one that I didn't even get because it was so expensive, and now being down low, it's good for me because I do want to get that eventually, not for personal gain, not because I think it'll be $1 million. I just want to get that just because I happen to like it. Again, we've all made mistakes like that. There was another person, I forget who it was right now, that did have it. I have the picture of it. Hang on one second. Yeah, somebody did have this as back in November, which we didn't have some of the comics we had now, but they had as the top 5 people, or as the top 5 comics in their predictions. They had Marvel Comics number 1, Avengers number 8, Fantastic Four number 1, Amazing Spider-Man number 1, and then came Hitmonkey. Hitmonkey came before Daredevil, Thor, Journey into Mystery. So it did, again, we've all made mistakes, understandable. But that being said, I don't think that the comics were, the comic grading was a mistake. I think that is something that some people might need, saying like, oh, hey, how do I value these middle numbers? Again, it's not necessarily for me, but if you don't really know when to invest in, I think that is a pretty good start for that. Moving on, after that, we do have a couple of things going on. I did talk about Jeremy Padawar, but there was one other thing. We do have a lot of negative sentiment. Again, it's very easy to be positive when things are going well. When things are going not well, what's going on? One of the most recent comments I had, won't say the names, I've talked about a $100 OMI, and I've put in there how the math would work out for us to have a $100 OMI, but it says, talking about a $100 OMI when it won't even hit 1 cent again. A Akomi team sees you as their retirement fund. For those of you that do not know, everyone on the Akomi team, at least in the higher up positions, are very successful in their own right. Well before they did this, this is a passion project. If they wanted to, they could walk away with probably $1 billion each at this point. So they're definitely not seeing little old me who only put in about $500,000 into the coin. as a retirement fund at all. So a lot of this anger really is misdirected. And then I have this person, I said, I'm willing to bet $10,000 that you are wrong. I have made this bet, or I have made the offer to make this bet for probably 50 people by now. Absolutely zero of them come on and take me on and say, yeah. So again, I'm not betting them $10,000 that it will reach $100 by 2030, which I even said in that video that it probably wouldn't happen. I just explained how it could happen. It says it won't ever hit 1 cent again. It said $10,000 that you're wrong, that we will hit 1 cent before the end of this year. Seems pretty doable. It seems almost, am I Thanos? Inevitable. But nonetheless, that is like person number like 57 that has not taken me up on that bet. So anyway, a lot of these haters are not putting money where their mouth is, or they do not have money to put where their mouth is. That should really tell you all you need to know about people that make outrageous claims like that. Anyway, that's about it for me today. Everyone please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. This has been your Veve and OMI Daily News. Never say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. And everyone please check out @HateWithDon, @KingMavs Forever over on Twitter. Standoff Chart, King Mavs, and ChavvyCat5 all over on the Veve app. Kobe Collection, OMI Player 1 over on the YouTube. RayThex.eth domain name. Kyle Willson, Wendy Stibalis, Puddin' Cheeks, Veve Las Vegas, Taps, Trades, Mars, Davis, Legacy, Bermuda, Sody Pop Media, The Gale, Charles Merkel, Veve Darklink, and Veve Vibes, all on the YouTube, and @WetWizardVeve, and Gary O @1234CA3 on the Twitter. I love you guys. Goodbye. Meow, 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 meow.